What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel, where we talk all things box. Remember to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, put it on all so you get notified immediately as soon as we drop new content on the channel. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So perhaps the most damning thing in all of this this whole Twitter war between Joshua and Fury was not only did Team Fury obviously know about the arbitration and there were gag orders, so they couldn't speak to Eddie Hearn about what was going on with this whole mediation thing, but the most damaging, the KO blow of all the things that happened on Twitter was Anthony Joshua responding to Tyson Fury's bare knuckle call out by saying, listen, you are not about that bare knuckle fight life, because basically you got held back by a barrier. And that was referring to Tyson Fury being present at the Billy Joe Saunders versus Canelo fight. And not only that, he was present while Billy Joe's dad was getting beaten up by, I don't know, maybe some of the other fans. There was a big brawl between Team Saunders, the few people they had there, and some of these other fans. I think they may have been Mexican fans or something like that. There was a big brawl between them. And Tyson Fury, he's seen in many pictures, he was just standing there. He was just standing back from the action. He didn't jump in to help Tom Saunders, Billy Joe Saunders, his dad. He was literally standing behind the barrier, and he didn't get involved in a scrap. He didn't get involved in a fight. So that for me was the most damaging thing that AJ said, because at the end of the day, he talks a big game about being a tough guy, being a bad man. He'll brawl on the streets, he'll fight on the streets, he'll bare knuckle brawl with AJ, he'll do this and he'll do that. But when it came down to it, on that night in question, he didn't really do anything from what I saw on the footage and the pictures. He was just standing there behind a barrier, and AJ goes, yeah, look, you talk all this bare knuckle life, but you were standing behind a barrier when your man, you know, your boy, his dad was getting beat up, he was getting laid out on the floor and rushed, and you were just standing behind a barrier. If you're a bad man, that wouldn't be happening. So for me, that was probably the worst thing that AJ said. That for me wins the Twitter war hands down. So obviously my previous video notified everyone, you know, Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua, undisputed, is not going to be taking place as planned in August. That fight is at the very least delayed, as Deontay Wilder won the mediation arbitration case. So he's got a fight. He's sort of guaranteed a shot at Fury for the rubber match by or before September the 15th. But lately, the latest stuff that's been coming out on Twitter is Anthony Joshua sort of laying into Tyson Fury on Twitter. And Joshua specifically said that, Fury, now everyone sees you for the fraud you are. You guys, you know, you and your lot, you just want clout off of my name. You're just calling my name out for clout and using me for, you know, media coverage, using my name for hype. You don't want blood. You don't want war. You know, basically, you don't want the smoke. All you want to do is use my name for clout chasing. So obviously Anthony Joshua was expressing his displeasure at the fact that now the undisputed fight is basically ruined, and you know, we're not going to get to see it. And you know, this is a massive disappointment to all the fans, and obviously to Team Joshua. Eddie Hearn's always been sort of upbeat about the whole undisputed fight, and so, you know, now we're in a state of big time disappointment. And Joshua, you know, went right after him, and it's a bit uncharacteristic of Anthony Joshua. He's normally more of sort of a peace-loving guy. He's not really a guy that is good at talking smack about people. You know, he's more calm and collected, and he's just like, he just wants to have a good fight. He sort of wants to let his fist do the talking more than anything else. So this is a bit uncharacteristic of him, but I reckon it's just a case of he's frustrated. He's been training for a while. He's been, you know, looking forward to this fight. Yeah, they ain't officially started training camp yet, but he's definitely he's in shape, and he's been looking to fight Fury. So he makes this statement, basically cussing out Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury did come back, and he responded and said, yeah, you're talking crap, AJ, you and that Eddie Hearn don't know what you're talking about, and Joshua said back to him, look, at the end of the day, you guys said this mediation, arbitration, this case wouldn't be a problem. Your side said it wouldn't be a problem. So why on earth did you book the fight with me and say that, yeah, we're going to fight for undisputed, when in fact you knew you could lose this mediation thing? You knew you could lose the case. So why did you say the undisputed fight is on when you knew there was a chance it wouldn't happen? So Joshua basically wins the argument on Twitter by just making a simple statement that, look, I was looking forward to this fight. You guys claimed that the fight was on. Your side signed it. It was all happy. It was all happening. And now all of a sudden you guys lose the case, and now we can't have the fight. So Joshua, understandably peed off, annoyed, and then tells Tyson Fury as much. He says, look, you guys offered to fight. You guys said you want to fight. You guys signed your part of the deal. And now all of a sudden the mediation's a problem. Because as we know, Bob Arum was saying that this mediation ain't a problem. It's an expired contract. The contract expired last October, so this won't be an issue. Fury is not obligated to fight Deontay Wilder. If anything, it will be a payout. So they've had all that on their side, and Fury responds to Joshua and says, look, we can put 20 million up each, and then we'll have a bare knuckle brawl. We'll go all in, blah, blah, blah. And to me, that just sounds like, again, just more bluster, more sort of hype talk from Tyson Fury. He has said similar things like this about Tony Bellew as well. Yeah, we can have a bare knuckle. I mean, for me personally, I believe it. That sort of talk is just kind of a bluff. It's kind of, all that stuff there is kind of pointless, because that's not what we want to see. That's just, talking tough and talking like a gangster. But what really counts and what we really want to see is the undisputed fight in the ring. We want to see them fight in the ring. A street fight is just a stupid idea, really. So yeah, that's where it got left, really. Joshua makes his valid point. All you guys seem to have done is strung us along, used my name for clout, used this idea of this fight for clout, and then when it comes down to it, you lose the case and you haven't delivered. So he calls Tyson Fury a fraud for that. Fury's part, I mean, it's one of those where I think you can't just blame Fury himself. You've got to also level some blame at his team, at guys like Bob Arum and whatnot, for sort of being naive about this deal, or if he did, I suspect he probably did know there was a chance they could lose, and then Wilder would have them have a stronghold on it and have a right for that third fight. So you got to level the blame at, I don't know, maybe the whole team there. So yeah, that is basically what was said. Joshua comes out, explodes, and just says what he feels. He feels his name has just been used for clout, and in a way, I definitely sympathize with Joshua there, because his name has been attached to Fury's all this time, and there's been all this talk of this fight, all this hype. The Saudis have apparently put up the money, and then now the fight's not happening. So I do understand what he's saying there. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about this Twitter wars between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. Do you think Fury's right, or do you think Joshua's right? In this case, I think of the two of them, Joshua definitely has the more valid point, because his side was all positive about the fight. The onus and the burden was really on Team Fury, because they're the ones that fought Wilder. They beat Wilder, and they had the rematch clause. They claimed they dealt with it when in fact it wasn't dealt with. So definitely the onus is upon them, because as far as Joshua's concerned, he doesn't really have any other obligations apart from this fight, which he just signed to. So I think the onus is more on Team Fury, because It's not Joshua who owes the third fight. It's not Joshua who's in the mediation thing. It's Team Fury and Tyson Fury. So that's my thoughts on the matter. And let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Until next time, this is MKO Pugilism over and out. I will catch you on the next one.